The night was cold and dark, darker than most Mississippi nights. The wind howled through the trees like a ghastly horn of death. "Hush now, don't wake up the massa," a kindly older slave whispered. She gently touched Hannah's cheek. Hannah dripped with sweat, her face furrowed in pain. "I can't have this baby," Hannah gasped. Hannah was little more than a child herself. The old woman looked at her sadly, knowing Hannah wouldn't survive this. She was too young, her body not fully formed yet. She was still a baby herself. The older woman wanted to cry, but she knew she had to be strong for Hannah. It seemed strength was all slave women had to offer their people, a sense of strength and pride, even when they had none. She remembered Hannah singing as she worked in the fields, remembered her precious, innocent smile. Innocence was something rare on the plantation, something that never lasted long. As soon as the white men noticed it, they destroyed it. It almost seemed like the sight of youth and innocence hurt them in some way. They hunted for it, and when they found it, they took that poor girl into the woods. All anyone would hear were her screams and pleading as they beat and ravaged her. Hannah had caught the eye of Massa Williams himself. He would stare at her, a child who had barely begun to bleed, with lust in his cold, evil blue eyes. All the womenfolk knew what would soon happen to Hannah and her innocence. They all hung their heads in shame, powerless to stop it. Massa Williams, like the other white men, would creep to the field shacks in the dead of night and pull a slave girl from her mother's bed. If that poor girl came back, she was beaten so badly she could barely stand. The girl she had been died in those woods at the hands of the white men. Hannah was no different. The night Massa Williams dragged Hannah out of her bed broke the old woman's heart. Hannah the hummingbird, that's what they called her, because she was always humming something. No one knew exactly what she was humming, but it always sounded beautiful. Massa Williams took that from her. He took her beautiful, innocent humming from the entire plantation. Now here she lay, barely more than a girl, about to birth Massa Williams' baby. "Hummingbird, please don't scream," the older woman pleaded, glancing around to ensure the overseers hadn't seen them yet. Hannah gripped the old, filthy blanket she lay on and bit down on her lips so hard it bled. She nodded and stifled another scream of pain. The old woman leaned down and looked between Hannah's thin legs. "Your baby's coming,"